Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Novelists Unwind. We're so glad to have you with us today. I have a returning guest. Jill Kemerer is with us again. Jill was with me a few weeks ago when we talked with both her and Jessica Patch about the Resort to Romance series, and that series has just ended. There were 10 stories and they're all out now.
Yay! That was very exciting to have them all out.
It really is. And so you'll want to go back and watch that interview too to check that out. I'll have the link in the show notes. But we're here today with Jill just to talk about her other writing that she does. She writes contemporary romance, and a lot of those books are for love inspired. I should also say that Jill is the Publisher Weekly's best-selling author, so that's pretty cool.
Thank you.
And she lives in Ohio, which is where I grew up. So we got that in common too. But the last, are there four books in the current series you're doing for Love Inspired, and they all take place in Wyoming.
Yes, this is the fourth book, and I'm so sad. It's the last one. So yes, it's a fictional town in Wyoming called Sweet Dreams.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Well, show us the latest one because it just came out. There we go.
I don't know if you can see it, but yep, there it is.
There it is. It's so cute. It's his Wyoming Baby Blessing.
Yeah, it's a mouthful. I know. Say that 5 times real fast. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And I was telling Jill before we started recording that I began reading it last night, and it's really just a cute story. And it's like, that's all I want to do now the rest of the day, but I've got the to-do list a mile long, but I will get back to it.
Well, thank you.
But Wyoming, why Wyoming? Why from all the way from Ohio do you get, why Wyoming?
Well, I knew I wanted to write a Cowboys series. And, I thought, well, Oklahoma, because of Pioneer Woman. I love that show. I watch it all the time. I record it, and it's just my favorite. But then I thought, well, I grew up in the country in mid-Michigan, and Wyoming is just such a vast, kind of lonely, beautiful place. I thought I could have more fun there because then you have mountains and, I don't know. Something about Wyoming just really appealed to me. So there it was.
Have you ever been there?
I haven't. Can you believe that? Oh, it's on my bucket list. I really, really want to tour a lot of Wyoming and get to Yellowstone. And yeah,
that would be really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been to Devil's Tower, but it was like, I was I was pregnant with my second daughter, so it was a long time ago when I was there, and it was pretty cool. And I just remember Wyoming as being very rocky, and then we were at this church camp, and it was beautiful. I mean, the trees and
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds gorgeous. I've done so much research, and for a while there, I was part of a Wyoming Google Plus group. But Google Plus has now shut down, and there were a lot of photographers in there, so I could see pictures every day of all different regions in Wyoming, and it was so gorgeous. I loved it.
Oh, that is cool. Well, and I mean, it's too bad about Google Plus, but what a great resource and resource opportunity to have had that.
It was, and I was able to ask questions, and if the people there that didn't know, they usually knew someone who might know, so it was great. I loved it.
Yeah. So the stories, how are they interconnected?
Okay. Well, basically each story follows a hero who there's four men who met when they were teenagers at a group foster home for teen boys.
Okay.
That's how they met, and they became best friends, basically brothers, and they've just, they're all kind of getting to that age where you get married and you have kids, and all of them are very against getting married and having kids. It was really fun to write these heroes where, the right woman does come along. So yeah, I just had a great time writing them.
Oh, that's cute. And one of them is it quintuplets. Yes, the Wyoming Christmas quintuplets. And I love that cover because it's got this basket of these 5 little babies.
Yes, there were a lot of babies in that one, and I just can't imagine having that many babies, but it worked.
So that sounds like a cute story too.
Yeah.
Well, how do you get your ideas? I read on your website that you like to take nature, that you like to get out in nature, you like to take walks, and that can be a really great place for just clearing your head and coming up with stuff. But how do you come up with what you're going to write about, your story ideas?
Well, you're a writer. We get ideas all the time. And I do write them down before I forget them. I have a couple of notebooks just for ideas. And if I'm ever stuck, I will go back and read through them, but I'm usually not stuck. I usually have too many ideas going through at once. But as far as like exploring to get a story, I've gotten in the habit now of once a week, I go out of the house, I take a notebook with me, and I will go to either a park or a coffee shop, because in the winter here, you're not going to a park.
Sure.
And then I just take a few hours and I just let my imagination go. And it really is, it's been really nice. I wasn't in the habit of doing that for a few years. And so I felt like the whole idea process was getting crunched, at like set times. And it really just, I like being able to do this once a week. So I'm glad I've changed.
Yeah, I like that idea. And it can be really hard to work that in. I mean, I'm in a schedule right now where I've just got like one deadline on top of the other.
Yes.
You do just get so overwhelmed, and it's almost like, yeah, I need to do that.
It became something that I looked forward to more than anything during the week. Even if I can just do an hour, even 1 hour is so huge to be able to just sit and let your brain go wild, So yeah, if you can, try to fit that in. It's great.
That's a great idea. It really, really is. Well, just want to talk a little bit about too. I know you and your husband were high school sweethearts, so that's really cool. And that you like to cook and you like to bake. So what are your favorite things to do?
Well, okay, so when I'm not writing or, doing the mom stuff, I love to read more than anything. Reading is my first passion, and I still read all the time. But I love to cook. I love to bake. I like trying new recipes, especially with baking. That's fun. And I've recently started bird watching. Now, I'm very new at this, but I live in an area where there's tons of migrating birds, and birders from all over the world come here.
Really?
For 10 days, and we're actually in the heart of it right now. They come because Lake Erie, this part of Lake Erie is such a migratory bird spot. So it's kind of fun. I'm like, ooh, when even when I take a walk down to the river that's near my house, I'm seeing all these warblers that you normally wouldn't see, and it's just fun. Yeah.
That's really, so are you like in the northeast or northwest corner of the state?
I'm into like the Toledo area, so that would be northwest.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's so interesting. I've been spending, well, for those of you who don't know, I've been kind of traveling around. So I'm back in Oklahoma, just got back yesterday. But yeah, but I've been in Missouri for a little bit with my daughter. And it's amazing to me that the birds I see there that I don't see in Oklahoma or Florida, where I lived most of my adult life, or, other places. So that's been really cool, just to be back in the Midwest kind of, and seeing the robins and the redbirds and the funny wrens and just all kinds of different little birds.
It's true. And the birds that I see every day, you probably wouldn't see every day. So it's just really neat.
That's really, really cool. Are you going to incorporate bird watching into any of your stories, do you think? Have you thought?
I'm sure it'll show up somewhere. Everything I do does at some point, whether I want it to or not,
Yeah. But you've been pretty prolific. So tell us a little bit about your writing journey as far as how long it took you, like from that first dream and all of that to get. But you've got at least 10 books out, I think I was counting, plus novellas, and so that's really great.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I started writing for just a hobby, like writing romance when I was 20. I was 20. And it was terrible, but I was hooked, you know. And I mean, I got like 22 pages and I was done. And it was like, oh, there's more to this writing than I thought.
Right.
But then when I was in college, I started doing it as kind of just a diversion from studying. And then when we were married and I was, you know, in my real job, so to speak, I started getting serious about it and studying, you know, how to write an actual novel. And then when I got pregnant, we decided I was going to be a stay-at-home mom. And I remember telling my husband, I had quit my job, we were moving around with his job, and I remember looking him in the eye and saying, my next career is going to be writing for Harlequin.
Wow.
And he was like, okay, you know. Well, it took a long time. It took me a long time. I took years off when the kids were little because I just couldn't manage it all.
Right.
But I got serious in 2007, and I really started writing for real then. And it wasn't until 2013 that I got my first contract, but I had been submitting from 2007 to 2013.
Wow.
And my first book came out in 2014. His Wyoming Baby Blessing is my 9th novel with Love Inspired.
Right.
And I do have a few novellas out. I have a nonfiction book out. And I have a new series coming out this winter. So with Love Inspired.
With Love Inspired. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And that's a pretty typical journey too. You know, I've interviewed a lot of authors, and the ones who it came very quickly to are way in the minority. Often it's years, from that desire to do that. And your timing and my timing is about the same, because 2007 is when I quit my job. It was like, I'm going to take this seriously. And I think my first book was published in 2013. So I mean, it was just, you know, we're probably about the same pace here. I'm glad you brought up college, because I did have a note on my board to talk to you about that, because your degree, Jill graduated magna cum laude, which is just wonderful, with a degree in electrical engineering. And
yes.
So when I read that, and I'm thinking, oh my, because I know that, I don't know about your mind, my mind, I used to be this very detail-oriented person. And the more I write, the less detail-oriented I get. I mean, it's just really kind of crazy. And I think electrical engineering has to be just so focused and so like this. I don't even know what I want to ask. But,
well, I will say this. When I was learning, the courses I took were all math and science. So, you know, there's that. But when I was actually in the job, I had to learn a lot of computer skills. In fact, sorry, my dog is barking at the rain. I had to learn logic, and just one second.
Okay.
We have a storm right now, and my dog is having a heart attack. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's okay, Sophie. Okay, thank you for licking me. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
But what I was learning on the job was really basic logic. I had to do a lot of problem solving, and if this didn't work, I had to figure out why and solve that problem. And I think it really helped me with plotting, because I am able to see plot holes in my stories and think, well, why would they do that? Oh, well, they wouldn't. I need to have them do this.
Right.
So I unfortunately, I think it hindered me, because I think there are a lot of people who have natural talent with writing who just have this kind of magic with words, so to speak. And since I am a lot more analytical, I feel like I have to really work hard to get that full experience in there.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense or not, but
it does. I see what you're saying. I think that's really interesting about the analyzing the plot holes, though, and doing that. And I don't know. It's just so great how God gives us just all these different creative gifts and how they can mesh together. And then, writing it's hard. I mean, there are just so many pieces to it, and it's hard, but then you can do that. And I love your stories. I love your writing, and I guess what I see in that, even if you don't think that you have that like natural affinity for words or whatever, maybe that poetic quality is kind of what you're talking about. But
Yeah.
but you've got this gift of humor that just pops out. And like we were talking right before it started about the bacteria and the drifters, he said, there might be bacteria and drifters in this hotel room that he didn't want the heroine to stay at. And I thought, oh my gosh, I thought only Jill would put those two things together. And then another instance in the story was something about getting hit in the face with a cow patty, so you just have all these little bits and pieces that are so funny.
Oh, thank you. I don't think I'm funny, but yeah, I appreciate it. That makes
me think you're funny. When we were doing the Resort to Romance series, then that was Jill and Jessica's brainchild. Jill sent everybody the first pieces of what she had written so that we could write these characters too. And Jill, I was laughing out loud. I mean, at some of the stuff you had written about the Sterling sisters, and
that makes me happy. Thank you.
Yeah, it was really fun, and those characters are so eccentric and so well done. And because you had done them so well, I felt like I was able to write them pretty well too, and that was fun. So I just encourage everyone. Yes, we're still talking about Resort to Romance because
it's a fun series. I'm still reading I'm about halfway through all the books, and I can't wait. I'm ready for summer vacation. I am just going to read the rest of them. So
I need to read them all too. I think I've read 3, and they've all just been great.
I agree. They've been really fun to read, and they're not very long. You can read them pretty quickly, and they just make you smile.
They do, and they're so lighthearted. And I hadn't really written anything with that kind of a tone before, and so that was really fun too.
It had been a while for me too, and I found that it was just it was fun to do something different, and it kind of made me excited to get back into my other writing then too,
Yeah. Let's talk just a couple minutes, because I don't want to go too long, but about your nonfiction book, because I was very interested in that too. It's called Game On, the Christian Parents Sports Survival Guide. Now, did you self-publish that, or do you have it?
Yeah,
I indeed do that project.
I have been a sports mom for many, many years, since my kids were very little, and I still am a sports mom. And I found that when the kids were getting into middle school, I found that I was getting a lot of anxiety and competitiveness, and just being around some parents was bringing that out in me. Not that it's their fault, but I just recognized that this wasn't really what sports should be about. And I started really exploring that, and all of a sudden I just really felt like there's a book here, and maybe it could help other people. And as I went through this process of writing this book, I just found that I got new tools myself to handle those ups and downs and stresses of sports. And it really helped me get my focus back on what God wants for us with our kids in sports, instead of like this glory and this get ahead and this I'm number one. So for me, it was really just helpful for me as a parent, and I hope that anybody who reads it can get the same kind of skills and tools to help them through their sports lives with their kids.
Oh wow, that's really good. I mean, that's a totally different kind of book than I usually see out there, and it's like, that's neat.
It is, and I know a few people who have read it and have said that it's helped them multiple times. They've read it over and over, and I'm like, well, good, then it's done its job,
Exactly. It's done exactly what we wanted it to do. And the name of your indie press is Ripple Effect Press. Yes. I love that. How did you come up with that name?
Well, I feel like as Christians, we don't always know how we're impacting the world, and sometimes the smallest contribution can create a ripple effect. that will affect other people's lives. And I feel like I'm just one little drop in the ocean, and hopefully it's helping other people too.
Oh yeah, I think I love that. It was just like, oh, that is so cool. I wish I thought of it.
Oh, I know. Well, thank you. I appreciate that too.
It's been so great having you here. Show us your book one more time, because we do want people to, to go out and get it. His Wyoming Baby Blessing.
Oh, Johnnie, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed this, and it was so nice of you to take time out to interview me.
No, I love doing it. I'm so glad to have you as a guest. One last question. You might remember from the last time you were on here. When you're all done, you've hit the end, what do you do to unwind?
Oh, I usually take a long walk if it's nice out, and it's just nice to have that pressure off of me. Oh, I don't have to write this draft now. Like for me, I feel like a book is done when I finish writing the draft. I still have to revise it, but the revising is so much easier for me than the actual writing.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't really do anything special. I just kind of
go.
Yes, exactly. That's it.
Jill, thanks so much. It's been great having you, and I hope to see you around sometime. We haven't seen each other in 2 or 3 years now, so
we need to see each other at a conference or something. That would be awesome.
That would be great. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again so much, and everybody, thanks for watching. We appreciate you doing that all the time, and come back in the next couple weeks for another episode of Novelists Unwind.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.